courtroom in Manhattan was already buzzing with tension, but on June 5, 2025, Sean Diddy Combs turned up the heat with a move that nearly got him thrown out of his own trial. Picture this. The hip-hop mogul, stripped of his usual flash, sitting in plain jail clothes, staring down a jury deciding his fate. During the testimony of Brianna Bongolan, a former graphic designer and friend of Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, he did something that made the judge's blood boil. Diddy started nodding vigorously at the jurors, his eyes locked on them as if trying to send a silent message. It wasn't just a nervous tick, it looked like a calculated attempt to sway their thoughts. And Judge Aaron Subramanian wasn't having it. The judge slammed the brakes on the proceedings, his voice cutting through the courtroom like a knife. "Absolutely unacceptable," he declared, glaring at Diddy's lawyer Mark Agnafilo. He made it crystal clear, any more stunts like that and Diddy could be watching his trial from a holding cell. Subramanian laid down the law, saying there should be no efforts whatsoever to have an interaction with this jury. The warning was sharp and the stakes were even sharper. Agnafilo, quick to smooth things over, promised it wouldn't happen again. But the damage was done. Diddy's bold move had put a spotlight on his behavior, raising questions about whether he was trying to charm or intimidate the jury. The courtroom, already a pressure cooker, felt like it was about to explode. And this was just the start. Why would Diddy risk such a reckless move? Some say it's desperation creeping in as the charges, racketeering, sex trafficking, and more pile up against him. Others whisper it's just Diddy being Diddy, unable to resist commanding the room, even in handcuffs. Whatever the reason, this moment has everyone talking. Was it a fleeting lapse in judgment or a sign of something deeper? The jury's perception of him could shift with every glance, and with weeks of trial left, this clash might be the spark that changes everything. But what's really behind these charges? That's where the story takes an even darker turn. The charges against Sean Diddy Combs read like something out of a crime drama, each one more explosive than the last. In a Manhattan courtroom, the 55-year-old music icon faces accusations of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Allegations he's fiercely denied with a not guilty plea. Prosecutors paint a chilling picture, claiming Diddy ran a sprawling criminal enterprise through his business empire, orchestrating what they call freak-offs, drug-fueled, coerced sex events that allegedly spanned from 2004 to 2024. These weren't just parties, they argue, but meticulously planned operations where women were lured, drugged, and manipulated into compliance. The weight of these claims has turned Diddy's trial into a spectacle, with every detail sparking heated debates online. But how deep does this web really go? At the heart of the case is the racketeering charge, a legal sledgehammer usually reserved for mob bosses and cartel leaders. Prosecutors allege Diddy used his bad boy entertainment empire, along with his vast wealth and influence, to control and exploit victims. They describe a pattern of abuse where women were pressured into sexual acts, often under the influence of drugs like ketamine or GHB, and threatened with financial ruin or violence if they resisted. The sex trafficking charge adds another layer, accusing Diddy of transporting women across state lines for these illicit events. Posts on X have lit up with speculation, with some calling the charges a takedown of a powerful figure, while others wonder if there's more to the story, like unverified whispers of ties to bigger scandals. The courtroom revelations keep peeling back layers, and they're far from done. What makes these accusations so gripping is their scope, decades of alleged misconduct, hidden behind the glitz of Diddy's empire. The prosecution's case hinges on a mountain of evidence, from financial records to witness accounts, all pointing to a system designed to silence and control. Yet, Diddy's team insists it's all a misunderstanding, framing these events as consensual, high-flying lifestyle choices twisted into something sinister. As the trial unfolds, the question looms. Is Diddy the mastermind of a dark underworld or a victim of overzealous prosecution? The answer could redefine his legacy forever. And just when you think you've heard it all, the testimony of one woman changes everything. When Cassandra "Cassie" Ventura took the stand in Sean Diddy Combs' trial, the courtroom felt like it was holding its breath. The singer, once Diddy's longtime girlfriend, didn't just testify, she dropped a bombshell that's still reverberating across social media. Cassie described a relationship riddled with control, fear, and abuse, alleging Diddy subjected her to years of physical and sexual mistreatment. Her words painted a picture of a man who used his power to dominate, far from the charismatic mogul the world knew. But it was the 2016 hotel surveillance footage that stole the show, a grainy clip showing Diddy allegedly assaulting Cassie in a hallway, chasing her down and throwing her to the ground. That video, first leaked in 2024, turned whispers into screams, and now it's a cornerstone of the prosecution's case. Fans on X are divided, with some calling it undeniable proof, while others question the context. Cassie's testimony didn't stop at the physical. She spoke of emotional manipulation, claiming Diddy controlled her career, her finances, and even her movements, creating a life where she felt trapped. She described moments where she was coerced into participating in the so-called freak-offs, those drug-fueled events prosecutors say were central to Diddy's alleged criminal enterprise. Her voice reportedly cracked as she recounted trying to escape, only to be pulled back by Diddy's influence or his threats. The weight of her words hit hard, especially for those who have followed her career since her 2006 hit Me and You online. Posts are buzzing with reactions, some speculating about other celebrities who might have seen this side of Diddy. The rawness of her account has made it impossible for viewers to look away, but it's also raised a chilling question. How many others share her story? The impact of Cassie's testimony goes beyond the courtroom. It's reshaping how people see Diddy's empire. For years, he was untouchable, a king of hip-hop who threw lavish parties and built a billion-dollar brand. Now, every story Cassie tells chips away at that image, revealing a darker underbelly. The prosecution leaned heavily on her account, using it to frame Diddy as a predator who hid behind wealth and fame. Yet, Diddy's defense team pushed back, suggesting her claims are exaggerated, born from a messy breakup rather than systemic abuse. The truth is still unfolding, but one thing's clear. Cassie's words have lit a fire, and the trial's next witnesses are about to pour fuel on it. Who else saw this side of Diddy, and what secrets are they ready to spill? The courtroom drama around Sean Diddy Combs took a wild turn as a parade of witnesses stepped up, each adding a new layer to the prosecution's case. Beyond Cassie Ventura's gut-wrenching testimony, others have come forward with stories that paint Diddy's empire as a house of secrets. One standout is a former Bad Boy Entertainment employee who claimed to have seen the inner workings of Diddy's so-called freak-offs. This insider described events where women were allegedly pressured into acts they didn't want, with drugs and intimidation keeping them silent. Then there's the testimony of a male sex worker, whose account of being flown across state lines for Diddy's parties sent shockwaves through the courtroom. These aren't just random voices. Each witness adds weight to the claim that Diddy's lifestyle wasn't just lavish, but sinister. Posts on X are buzzing, with users piecing together these accounts like a puzzle, wondering how far the rabbit hole goes. Another name that raised eyebrows was Kid Cudi, the rapper who brought a celebrity edge to the witness stand. Cudi didn't hold back, alleging Diddy broke into his home years ago in a fit of rage, a claim that ties to rumors of a 2012 car fire at Cudi's property. He told the court he believed Diddy was behind the torching, a story that's had fans on X speculating about bad blood between the two. Other witnesses, like former security staff and business associates, backed up the narrative of a controlling figure who used his influence to silence dissent. Their stories aren't just about wild parties. They describe a system where loyalty was demanded and stepping out of line had consequences. The prosecution's weaving these accounts into a tight narrative, but the question lingers. Are these witnesses reliable, or are they settling old scores? What makes this web of witnesses so gripping is how diverse yet consistent their stories are. From employees to romantic partners to industry peers, they're sketching a portrait of a man who allegedly ruled through fear and manipulation. The defense, however, is fighting tooth and nail, calling these accounts exaggerated or motivated by money and fame. They've grilled witnesses on their credibility, pointing out inconsistencies or past grudges. On X, some users are eating it up, theorizing about who else might step forward, while others call it a coordinated hit job. As each witness takes the stand, the stakes get higher, and the world's watching to see if these voices will topple Diddy's legacy. But there's another twist. Whispers of bigger names and darker secrets are starting to surface, and they're about to set the internet on fire. As Sean Diddy Combs' trial burns through headlines, the internet is ablaze with rumors and speculation that add fuel to an already explosive case. Platforms like X are flooded with whispers tying Diddy to scandals far beyond the courtroom, with some users pointing to unverified claims about his connections to Jeffrey Epstein's notorious network. Posts have circulated suggesting Diddy's name might appear in sealed Epstein files, with fans speculating about shadowy dealings involving high-profile figures. These are just rumors, no concrete evidence has surfaced, but they're enough to keep viewers glued, wondering if there's a bigger story waiting to break. It's the kind of buzz that thrives on mystery, and it's got everyone asking, what else don't we know about Diddy's world? Then there's the chatter about political ties, with some ex-users tossing around wild theories linking Diddy's case to figures like Donald Trump or other power players. Posts claim his influence in entertainment might have shielded him from scrutiny for years, with allegations of payoffs or cover-ups swirling online. Others speculate about his infamous parties, with rumors suggesting A-list celebrities might be sweating as the trial digs deeper. These stories are framed carefully as unconfirmed. Nobody's got receipts yet, but they're driving clicks and comments like crazy. The prosecution hasn't touched these angles, but the public's imagination is running wild, painting Diddy as the center of a web much larger than the charges suggest. And that's exactly what keeps people hooked. The idea that this trial is just the tip of the iceberg. What's fascinating is how these rumors feed into the trial's narrative without a shred of proof. On X, fans and skeptics alike are dissecting every detail, from Diddy's courtroom nod to cryptic old tweets from former associates. Some say the case is a setup, pointing to Diddy's claim of racial bias in the prosecution as evidence of a targeted attack. Others argue the rumors are distractions, meant to muddy the waters around the real allegations of abuse and trafficking. Whatever the truth, this speculative frenzy has turned the trial into a cultural phenomenon, with every post and theory adding to the drama. But while the internet spins its tales, Diddy's defense is gearing up to fight back with a bold counterattack that could flip the script entirely. With the prosecution piling on damning testimony, Sean Diddy Combs' defense team isn't sitting quietly, they're swinging back hard. Led by attorney Mark Agnifilo, the defense argues that the charges against Diddy are a gross mischaracterization of a consensual, extravagant lifestyle. They claim the so-called freak-offs were nothing more than private, adult parties where everyone was a willing participant, not victims of coercion or trafficking. Agnifilo has painted the prosecution's case as a witch hunt, accusing them of twisting Diddy's relationships and business dealings into a criminal conspiracy. On X, some fans are rallying behind this narrative, arguing that Diddy's wealth and fame have made him a target for those looking to cash in or settle scores. But can this bold defense hold up against the mountain of evidence? The defense isn't just denying the allegations, they're flipping the script by suggesting bias in the judicial process. Agnifilo has repeatedly hinted at racial profiling, arguing that Diddy, as a successful black mogul, is being unfairly singled out for behavior that others in the entertainment world get away with. They've grilled witnesses like Cassie Ventura and former employees, pointing out inconsistencies or suggesting their motives might be financial or personal. For instance, they've questioned whether some accusers are chasing payouts from the 70-plus civil lawsuits filed against Diddy since 2023. This strategy is sparking heated debates online, with some ex-users calling it a clever deflection, while others see it as a legitimate pushback against an overzealous prosecution. The defense's confidence is palpable, but it's a risky play in a courtroom where emotions run high. What's keeping viewers glued is how the defense weaves doubt into every accusation. They've brought in their own witnesses, former associates and friends, who describe Diddy as a generous, if flawed, figure whose parties were just part of the high-rolling music world. They've even suggested that some of the prosecution's evidence, like financial records, shows nothing more than a lavish lifestyle, not a criminal enterprise. But the defense faces an uphill battle with the 2016 hotel footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie, which they've tried to downplay as an isolated incident, not a pattern. As the trial rolls on, the defense's counterattacks are keeping everyone on edge, wondering if they can sway the jury, or if the weight of the allegations will crush their case. And just when you think the drama can't get bigger, a wave of lawsuits is stirring up even more chaos. While Sean Diddy Combs battles it out in a New York courtroom, a storm of civil lawsuits is raging outside, amplifying the chaos around his trial. Since November 2023, over 70 lawsuits have been filed against him, accusing the music mogul of sexual assault, rape, and even misconduct involving a minor. These cases, separate from the criminal charges, paint a grim picture of alleged abuse spanning decades, with plaintiffs ranging from former employees to party attendees. One particularly shocking claim involves a woman who says she was assaulted as a teenager at a bad boy entertainment event, a story that sent shockwaves through X and beyond. These lawsuits aren't just legal filings, they're fueling a public frenzy, with each new accusation adding weight to the prosecution's narrative of a pattern of predatory behavior. But are they all true, or is this a pylon against a fallen star? The public reaction has been nothing short of electric, with X lighting up like a wildfire. Users are dissecting every lawsuit, from the lurid details to the credibility of the accusers. Some posts call Diddy a monster, pointing to the sheer volume of claims as proof of guilt, while others argue he's being targeted by opportunists looking for a payday. Hashtags like Diddy Trial and Justice for Cassie are trending, with fans sharing old clips of Diddy's parties and speculating about who else might come forward. The frenzy isn't just about the lawsuits, it's about what they mean for Diddy's legacy. Once a symbol of hip-hop royalty, he's now a lightning rod for controversy, with every tweet and headline tearing down his empire a little more. The intensity of the chatter is keeping viewers hooked, waiting for the next bombshell to drop. What's driving this madness is the sheer scale of the allegations, each one feeding into a narrative that Diddy's world was built on secrets. The lawsuits don't just echo the criminal charges of trafficking and racketeering, they add new layers, like claims of drugging and coercion at his infamous parties. Yet Diddy's defense team is pushing back, calling the lawsuits a coordinated effort to extort money from a wealthy figure. They've pointed out that many claims lack hard evidence, relying on memory or hearsay, which has some ex-users crying foul over a trial by media. As the civil cases pile up, they're creating a feedback loop with the criminal trial, each one amplifying the other's impact. But this is more than just a legal battle. It's a cultural reckoning, and what comes next could change everything.